it going, everybody? It's Charlie, and welcome back to the Chatting Leeds YouTube channel. It's time for your Leeds versus Man City match review. Leeds losing out by 4-0 at Ellen Road this evening by, let's be honest, probably the best team in the world right now in Man City. Just before we get into it, smash that like button. Please subscribe if you're brand new and share all of your thoughts and opinions on today's game in the comment section down below. And yeah, if you haven't checked out the membership available on Chatting Leeds, it's £1.99 a month, and you'll see the perks that come along with that, as I always say. So go check that out if you haven't already. So then, 4-0 to Man City. Pretty much the scoreline that I did predict. I said it would be 3 or 4, and it was literally seconds away from being 3. I think that fourth goal kind of flattens us, really. It's a tough one. Does 4-0 reflect how the game went? Yes, in a lot of ways. I think City passed us to death, which we knew that they'd have more of the ball. But I felt that there was 2 large spells in the game, one in the first half and one in the second, where I felt Leeds were on top. And if we're more clinical in that final third, then I'm not saying we'd have won the game, but would have made it a bit more interesting, I think. For anybody that's not watched the game, they'll see the scoreline and they'll think that City walked all over us. For me, it was far from that. There was only 1 goal that I think that they scored today, which was just down to pure class and them cutting us open, and that was the Jesus goal. Thought it was a really good pass from Phil Foden through the middle, and Jesus makes it 3. And let's be honest, the second goal pretty much confirmed that we'd been beat, but that third one was just the icing on the cake for them. But let's go back to the first half. Let's just go back to the lineup. It was a very encouraging lineup, I thought. Interesting to see that he didn't go with Dan James up front. And it did, well, on the Sky Sports app, it showed that Leeds were setting up in a 4-1-4-1. But to me, when I saw who was starting, I thought it was going to be a 4-3-3. And obviously, Coops gets injured in warm-up. So then Koch moves to centre-back with Pascal Struijk. Ayling at right-back. Junior Firpo at left-back. We'll get onto him in a second. And obviously, Click ended up coming in to start alongside Phillips and Dallas, and then the front three of Rafinha, Rodrigo and Harrison. Now, when I saw City's lineup, I was a bit surprised. Obviously, De Bruyne, Mahrez didn't start, which I expected. But the likes of, Foden, Cancelo, Rodri, players like this where I thought maybe they could have been rested for the Madrid game, but it just shows that Pep wants to go for the league as well. I did think that they'd maybe have an eye on the Champions League, which they might have done, but you wouldn't know by how they played. I've watched us play against City and Liverpool, obviously, live at Ellen Road, and obviously I watched us play City at the Etihad earlier on in the season. City are by far the best team that I've seen Leeds play ever in my time following Leeds. There was moments today where you just had to stand there and just be like, wow, just some of the things they were doing on the ball, off of the ball, some of the blocks that they made, that Laporte block on Rafinha in second half, the Edison save as well late on. They're just in a completely different universe to us at this minute in time, which is why I'm kind of baffled that, there was fans leaving on 80th, 85th minute. And I was like, well, what's the point? It's not like it's a Norwich or a Burnley or a Watford doing that to us. It's Man City, best team in the world we're talking about here. They're hunting down a Premier League title. They were, of course, going to be up for it. It was a big game for both teams. Obviously, Burnley scoring 2 late goals against Watford to get a win at Vicarage Road, obviously, which puts Leeds United 17th on goal difference. We'll get onto that in a bit as well, but I did genuinely feel like it was a much improved performance from Leeds. There was a clear game plan, and it was working. It was working. You know, it was only 1-0 at half time, which I saw as a positive in itself. I thought towards the end of that first half, we really had them on the back foot. They looked not nervy, but you could tell obviously, the crowd was amazing. A few half nervy moments at the back from them. Obviously, there was that slip from Cancelo, which put Rodrigo in. All Rodrigo needs to do there is square it across to Rafinha, and it's 1-0 to Leeds. Unfortunately, we did lose Stuart Dallas through game as well in the first half. Marsh has said since that it doesn't look good. It's a knee injury. He's had a scan, but it's too soon to say. But all he said was that it doesn't look good. Wish Stuart Dallas a speedy recovery. If he is out for the season now, that's a huge blow for Leeds. He's been ever present in the Premier League. But yeah, City were just, there's not really much to go into from an analytical point of view. We knew they'd have all at ball, which they did. But as I say, there was a good maybe 15-20 minute spell in both halves where Leeds were on the front foot. And like I said earlier, if we had, better ideas in final third, if we were clinical enough, again, I'm not saying it made a difference in terms of the outcome of the game, but even if we'd have just had a goal or two to celebrate, it'd have been unreal. The atmosphere was class anyway, but I think a Leeds goal would have just sent the roof off, even though we'd have still lost. It's a strange feeling leaving Ellen Road today. I wasn't too disheartened. I put a tweet out earlier. This is Man City. I keep saying it, but I've seen fans having meltdowns already on Twitter, and I'm just thinking, just look at the team we're playing against. This team is probably going to win league, and they've got a very good chance of winning the Champions League right now. You know, we're not playing against Burnley or Norwich or Everton or anyone like that today. We're playing Man City. And for me, that performance today was much better than Palace away. And we got a draw at Palace away. But it just shows you his passing was so much better as well today. We looked more confident on ball. We're passing it out at back really well at one point. I was thinking, God, have City changed kits? Obviously, I'm only joking there, but it was really good. There was some really good football from Leeds today, and I think we should be proud that we actually took the game to City a bit today. We didn't lie down. We went for it, and that's all you could ask for. All I wanted today was a performance, and if we'd have got a result, that'd have been a bonus. But we got a performance, and that's all I'm happy with today. Obviously, the Burnley result earlier, I put a slight damper on tonight. I think if Burnley had lost or drawn and this had have happened, I'd be feeling a bit more happier. But for me, and this might sound naive, if we can play like that for the rest of this season, I think we will be fine. Even against Arsenal next week and Chelsea the game after. I do genuinely think we can get something in either of those games if we play like that today. With Arsenal, you never know what Arsenal teams are going to turn up. They lost 3 games in a row prior to that Man U game, and then they beat Man U. They've got West Ham tomorrow, so I'll have a keen eye on that. And then they've got us at home, which it's always a fairly good game against Arsenal. Obviously, the one earlier on in season probably shouldn't have even been played that day with all the COVID things that were going on. They beat us 4-1, but the team that we had out that night were pretty much just children. So I think this game will be much tighter. Chelsea at home, they've got an FA Cup final 3-4 days later. They've pretty much solidified top 4 now. They've got Champions League football next season. They'll finish third. they'll make changes. I think that's a game that we can definitely, you know, try to exploit them. And then we've obviously got Brighton final home game, which, Brighton, we always do poorly against Brighton. They beat Wolves 3-0 away today. But obviously, the one game that I think every Leeds fan will be tuning into tomorrow will be Everton against Chelsea. Obviously, we're still 5 points clear of Everton. Us and Burnley have both got the same points gap on them now. If as long as Everton keep losing, which I think the next 2-3 games are key in who stays up and who goes down. Everton's next 3 games are Chelsea at home, Leicester away, and then Watford away. For me, I don't see Everton beating Chelsea or Leicester. Their away form's shocking, so I expect Leicester to beat them at Leicester. I think tomorrow's game, I've got a funny feeling just with Lampard and the whole Lampard effect on the game, but I do think Chelsea will win. So if they lose their next 2 games, then they're going into Watford away. They've not won away from home since August. I know Watford are poor at home, as we saw earlier on today, but that game's going to be tense. Even if they get a point out of that, even if Everton only get a point out of their next 3, let's say that we lose our next 2 and we get beat by Arsenal and Chelsea, we'll still have a 4-point gap on them going into the last 2 games. Burnley have got to play Aston Villa twice as well. I think they've got them at home next week. I think there's more twists and turns that are coming. I still genuinely don't believe that Leeds will go down. I think even if we finish 17th, I do think we'll be okay. I really do. But yeah, if Everton get a result against Chelsea, I don't know. I can't. I just want this season over with now. I'm so done with it. But in terms of our game today, much improved. I thought a very good performance. The fans were unreal. I know it's a thing that other fans say about Leeds. Oh, it's all they care about is an atmosphere. But I think even City fans, like I said on my preview, I had a friend of mine who was a City fan who was in the away end. Even he sent me a message earlier after the game, saying that it was really good banter with Leeds fans and that we're a great set of fans, which we are. You'd have thought Leeds were a team that were 3-4-0 up with how we were earlier. And I think the fans were like that because, we're not deluded. We're not, unrealistic. It's Man City that we're playing and the effort we put in, the performance was much better. Passing was better. Set pieces we do need to work on. I think we missed Liam Cooper massively today, and that's coming from me, who has said numerous times that he shouldn't start moving forward. But you could tell that there was a difference in that back four. I still thought, even though we shipped 4 goals, that defensively we were still okay. But Cooper just makes that back four so much better, his leadership as well. But yeah, unfortunately, we weren't at it today in terms of getting a result. But I felt the desire, the fight, and it was really encouraging. So that's all I'm going to say, really. So, yeah, so there's not really much more to say. I'm trying to think of more things to say, but as I say, in terms of a tactical standpoint, City were by far superior. So we move on. We've got Arsenal next week, and as I said, if we keep playing like that, I do think we will be okay over the course of this season. Hit me up with your thoughts in the comment section down below. Smash that like button. Please subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Cheers.